Good evening. Good evening. How you doing? I ended up not streaming like most of the week, which was unintentional. Things kept coming up. Ended up like working in the evening. So yeah. Suddenly like 5-6 days have gone by. And here we are. I think... Let me just double check, but I'm pretty sure I did everything. I'll go report this, but... I think I've done absolutely everything I can before moving forward with the main story, which is to go to Orchis Tower and be like backup security detail. And running around and talking to every single person at every single opportunity is getting rather tedious, which it always does for me. But I am actually finding things is the thing. Like I feel like this game has more hidden quests and like important and I would say rewarding conversations than I think most other titles in the entire series. So it's like, even though it is kind of tedious, it's kind of worth it. So I'm fine with it. Ellie's the one with the gladiator belt. Feel like I should give this to Tio. Either Ellie or Tio should always have it, so that I always have a defensive S-craft at my disposal. And I do have the Zero Field as her S-break. Just wondering if I want this to be the teams. The thing I'm noticing about Wazzy is I think he is better. His crafts aren't particularly useful. Maybe against a boss with the speed down, but bosses are usually immune to stat downs, so... It's like he just doesn't have a lot to offer in here, and he doesn't exactly have a lot of arts. Hold on, let me see. Oh, he has the speed one. I guess like an evasion tank, I guess I can turn him into later in the game. But right now, he's honestly not the most useful character in combat. If I did give him Pixie, this would give him 70 more arts. And he would have arts up. He'd have about 450. So he'd be pretty much on par with Tio. So I could turn him into a mage. I guess Tio's more of a healer. He really doesn't have... Oh, I never actually, like... gave her quartz. I unlocked her slots and just left her alone. Okay. What would be the most useful? If I go with wind, I'd probably get breath, right? Although the AoE on it's pretty shitty. I mean, she doesn't need the move? Question mark? It doesn't even give me breath. She doesn't have an on hit. This gives her the most varied elements of spells. I guess this one does too. Prankster doesn't do anything extra. Sylphid is kind of pointless. I forget what Calamity Claw is. Oh, right. Oh, it's like super chrono down. Okay, we'll go with this. Yeah, offensively, magically, not great. Well, the problem is, if I do switch him to a mage, he's gonna lose 6 speed, which would make him super fucking slow. So part of me was just thinking he just sits in the reserve for now, because his support is really good. Whereas, like, Randy's is fine, it's just an attack. And Ellie's is good as well. I think I would do better with Randy at the moment. I'm assuming there's gonna be big boss fights and stuff coming up. And so I want the gladiator belt. Be on Tio. Speed's really good, but I don't want to give up preventing stealing mute, so auto CP up, so I always have immunity at least. Or pretty much always have immunity. Yeah, that's good, that's good. He's got 20% evasion. They both have 20% evasion. I mean, this alone is pretty good. Team Rush chance up. I always seem to miss them. They're always on an enemy turn. I'll just stick with this, see how it goes. If I have to reset, then I have to reset. You know, it is what it is. I don't have anything super good. Okay, I don't have any of the really good, like, accessories just yet. No, like, stats and whatnot. But yeah, I never talk to this crowd. Just staying away from it, because I assume as soon as I try to go up there, that's when we move forward. Okay, they're like a big group. Sneak into the conference. I'm nervous. I'm gonna save. Let's go. I could see the tower clearly from my seat last night before landing at the airport, and yet it appears even grander up close. That's exactly how we felt yesterday. It's supposed to really put itself on the map with this one. Yeah, but don't you think it's a little too big? I mean, what are they even going to use all those floors for? The old City Hall building's like a dollhouse compared to this, and it did the job just fine. True, but the tower features more than just governmental facilities alone. In addition to housing the administrations of the city and state, there are floors dedicated to international trade and cultural exchange. You could say the aim was to make Orchis Tower the center of Western Zemuria itself. Dang, talk about shooting for the moon. It makes sense when you think about it. That's why they're hosting this trade conference as their first major event. Don't forget, this building's completion is going to lead to even more financial and information capital flowing into Crossbell. That'll be a handy bargaining chip when they're discussing new trade agreements, I imagine. Yes, from what I've heard. Though the potential benefits might not be limited to just economic gain. Anyway, what do you all want to do? We're scheduled to meet Dudley on the first floor at noon. Of course, but we do still have some time before then. Alright, how's about we take care of any unfinished business and prep work in the meantime? We don't want to be in a bind if it hits the fan this afternoon. Good point. It's not like we'll be able to leave once the conference is underway. Very well, let us make sure to tie up any loose ends before we enter. I feel like I'm not doing Tio's voice right now. No terrorists so far. So far. Scheduled to meet up with Dudley on the first floor at noon. We still have a little bit of time, but maybe we should head in now? You will be unable to buy new equipment items or upgrade your orbits. Let's go. A nice lobby. Wow. Get a load of this place. It's like high-tech meets fancy living. This feels even more futuristic than the IBC building. Every floor is wired up to the Orbital network as well. There's also a direct line to the IBC for instant updates on stock market prices. Heard about that. Uncle Dieter insisted on it. A true economist to the end. He was banking on the brain even as a statesman. Well, all we can do now is wait for Dudley to come pick us up. Conference isn't open to the general public, so why don't we have a seat over there? There you are. Hello, Dudley. We're ready for our assignment. It's noon sharp. The trade conference begins at 1 p.m. As for the dignitaries, they'll be here in around 30 minutes' time. Got it. Where should we make our way for now in that case? I would have preferred to familiarize you with the venue myself, but there's been a change of plans. I came to let you know that someone else will be showing you around. Someone else meaning... Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming today. Who dis? Oh, it's Dieter. Mayor Croyce? Uncle? Ellie Lloyd, how long has it been? A few weeks or so? Hello to you too, Wazzy and Noelle. Well, it's been far longer since I've seen you, Randy. Tio, welcome back. Oh, appreciate it. It's good to see you again. Yes, it is, but what are you doing here? The conference starts in less than an hour. Is it really okay for you to take the time out to greet us? Nonsense. The preparations are just about finished. We're simply waiting for the dignitaries to arrive in the meantime. I thought showing you around the building would make a good break of sorts. I trust this is all right with you, Dudley. As you say, Mr. Mayor. See to it that you don't do anything to embarrass yourselves in front of him. Once you're done, come to the security command room on the 34th floor. Understood. They're all yours, Mr. Mayor. I'll see the rest of you soon. You have my gratitude. He's a talented detective, but a little inflexible, isn't he? Though perhaps it's that particular quality that makes him so good at his work. Yeah. The First Division does have a reputation for doing things by the book, after all. Where are my manners? I forgot the most essential of all tour procedures. Ladies and gentlemen of the SSS, welcome to Orchis Tower. Follow me if you would. Same as ever. Yes, and the apple we call Maribel didn't fall far from his tree. Maybe, but it is nice of him to show us around personally before the conference. Sure is. Let's take him up on his offer. Oh! Mach speed. Is there another book that I didn't see? Good, good. Where is favorite division? I don't know if I go that far. Don't get me wrong, it's not that I'm bitter or anything. Sorry if it came out that way, though. Truth be told, I like you guys too. I'll be rooting for you, SSS. Our duties today may be different, but I'm glad we have the chance to work together like this. Thank you for saying so. It would seem that in only half a year, we have gone from zeros to heroes. It was like just yesterday when the Force was calling us bargain bin bracers and sideshow monkeys. Did they really? I guess infighting's just one of those things every organization has to deal with. Yeah, some people really had it out for you back then. Don't let it get to you, though. No one's stubborn enough to keep saying those things now. But enough about that. Let's all work hard to do our best today, yeah? Sure thing. There are 3 elevators? Now you're just showing off. Well, the building is 40 stories tall. Just for the record, there are actually 6 elevators if you count the ones reserved for private use. That's impressive. Keep in mind that we don't have time today to visit every floor. Sadly, we'll have to limit ourselves to those related to the conference. Now, without further ado, let us begin with the 34th floor where the security command room is stationed. After you. I see. I heard the same from Dudley. It's quite a tricky situation we find ourselves in. Yeah, the Jaegers and Heiwei are cause for concern, not to mention whatever it is the Imperial and Republican governments are up to. On top of that, there are terrorists aiming to take the lives of 2 heads of state. That isn't even including yesterday's mystery hacker. Would I be right in assuming that the stolen blueprints originated from one of your processing units? Regrettably, yes. It would appear a sub-terminal of Orchis Towers was hacked into. After the IPC was hacked months ago, I had our systems department boost their anti-hacking countermeasures. But clearly it wasn't enough. When you think about it, though, hacking isn't exactly the most commonplace skill. Yep, the most logical culprit wouldn't have to be someone with ties to the Epstein Foundation. Chief Roberts is currently looking into that possibility, though my intuition tells me that isn't the case this time. No matter, all we can do is wait for the results of his investigation. A Jaeger Corps, a crime syndicate, the looming threat of terrorists, there's plenty to worry about already. What's most troublesome, however, are the motives of a number of our esteemed dignitaries. In other words, what some of the leaders are hoping to gain from the conference? You're saying you're suspicious of the people you yourself invited? I have no misgivings about Princess Claudia or Prince Oliver, mind you. The Grand Prince of Vermiferia has given me no reason to doubt him either. Chancellor Osborne and President Rocksmith, however, are another matter entirely. Leaders of the 2 major powers. They have the most to gain from controlling Crossbell's future. Have they tipped their hands on that front already? Quite the opposite, actually. We've already sent preliminary proposals for various treaties and accords to each country ahead of the conference. Both sides have reacted suspiciously favorably toward everything we've suggested thus far. The way they're behaving, you would think those 2 are all for equitable growth in Western Zemuria. That seems unlikely, to say the least. The Empire and the Republic tend to clash over even the smallest issues. Correct. These sudden shifts in disposition make me all the more uncertain about how this conference might unfold. I've already prepared for the worst-case scenario, mentally speaking. That seems wise. Though on top of all the immediate danger, we're stuck in a political trap, too. Times like this are when I'm glad to have Speaker McDowell to lean on. If we play our cards right, we should also have the support of Liberal and Ramiferia during these negotiations. Come what may, my heart is steeled. The only thing more I can do is pray that Adios is in our corner as well. Uncle, it's hard to believe you have even more on your plate today than I realized. I'm sorry to take up your time with this tour. Don't mention it. On the contrary, I relish the opportunity for a nice change of pace. That's why I insisted that I be the one to show all of you around. Well, when you put it that way, it would be our honor, Mr. Mayor. Heck yeah, we're down if you are. That's what I like to hear. Perfect timing. We've arrived. That was an extremely long elevator ride. Or it's an extremely slow elevator. Wow, incredible. Oh, the view. I guess we are near the top, right? It says it's 40 stories tall. Whoa! It's absolutely amazing. Boy, is it. Get a load of that view. I'm glad you all find it as satisfying as I do. This is the 34th floor, where much of the staff will be on standby during the trade conference. Are you ready to have a look around? Lead the way, Mr. Mayor. Here we have the security command room, and there's the press room just next door. There will be a company of guardsmen from the CGF on the floor below in the event of any terrorist infiltration. Right, I remember being briefed about that. Bet they're gonna send the best the CGF has to offer. Suppose the press room is where Grace will be spending all of her time. You mean that reporter from the Crossbell Times? That's right, I believe I saw her name on the list, so we can expect she'll be attending. Bear in mind that the press aren't permitted to leave this floor, with the exception of the press conference or any scheduled interviews. Sounds reasonable enough. It's necessary. Sometimes reporters can get a little pushy for a surprise Q&A session, enough to slip past security even. Grace likely accounts for most of those instances, if not all of them. I can already picture us dragging her away from somewhere she's not supposed to be. Allow me to take the opportunity to show you into this room. Well, now, this is more my kind of place. Looks like a break room, but it's so spacious. Precisely, this is the lounge I had prepared for the conference. Feel free to use it yourselves during your downtime. Thank you, we'll be sure to. We could always stop by for tea later. Let's head to the next floor, shall we? Didn't he say that? Oh, okay. The stairs. Is this an emergency stairwell? Looks like the way going down is sealed off, though. Normally, you'd be able to use these stairs to descend all the way to the first floor. However, we've sealed them off in preparation for the conference. Only the stairs between 34, 35, and 36 will be open. In other words, it's a security measure. What do people do in case of emergency, say if an earthquake occurs? Should such an event come to pass, the gates to the stairwell will automatically open. Which just goes to show that no security plan is foolproof, not when we have to account for the unexpected. True, we'll do our part to cover any possible gaps. Devising anti-hacking protocols will be a necessity, it seems. Since we're here, why don't we take the stairs? Next stop, the 35th floor, home to the International Conference Room. Oh, is this it? That's right, before you is the stage upon which world leaders will pursue the elusive dream that is diplomacy. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know which banner's which. The one on the left is Crossbell. The plant? Don't know. The horse is Arbonia. I think the wing thing is Liberal. I mean, one's gonna be Ramifaria and the other one's gonna be Calvard. I don't know which one's which. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the International Conference Room. It's incredible. I've never seen anything like it. You must have had to take a chunk out of the next floor up with how high this ceiling is. As it so happens, the 36th floor was designed in the shape of a U so as to accommodate the conference room. The antechambers to either side will house the staff of each respective dignitary. Their personal security details will be on standby there as well. Oh, that's smart. Well, they all have to go somewhere, don't they? Let us move to the final floor of our tour, shall we? The rooms prepared on this floor will be provided to the dignitaries participating in the conference. Allow me to show you around. After you. What about the first one? Oh, check this place out. Talk about swanky. If you gave me a room like this, I don't think I'd want to leave it. This one will serve as a waiting lounge for Prince Olivert. There are rooms in the West Wing as well, one assigned for each visiting participant. They also double as spaces to cool one's head, should things get too heated during the conference. That makes sense. Are these rooms fitted with orbital cables as well? That's right, we requested that the wiring be inconspicuously installed. Now then, why don't we put the other rooms aside for now? You see, there's one final place I'd like to show you. This feels like a trap. Is he gonna lock us in somewhere so we can't interfere with whatever happens? At ease, gentlemen. From these windows, you will be able to command a full view of the conference as it progresses. There are curtains to make things private should a confidential meeting take place, but they'll be open on this occasion. Good to know. This way we can get a quick glance at how the conference is going while we're on patrol. That's right, and if anything were to happen, we could rush in as soon as we saw it. We should make this a routine stop on our route then. With that, you've now seen all 3 floors that will be part of our security rounds, or your security rounds. However, if you would allow me, there is one more place I've been saving for last. You mean this wasn't it? So where are we going? Isn't it obvious, the spot with the best view of all? Whoa! Look at that, it's breathtaking. Wow, well, words don't do it justice. Not in the least. The rest of the city looks like a miniature model from this far up. Dang, makes me wish this whole get-together was after dark, but the view at night's insane. This little area will eventually become an observation deck for the public. It would be a terrible waste, after all, to restrict something so marvelous to government officials only. I'm sure people will love it. I can't wait for us to take Kia here, too. Oh, pardon me. Croy's here. Is that so? Understood, I'll be there right away. I've just received word that the dignitaries have arrived at the tower. Forgive me, ladies and gentlemen, but I'll have to take my leave here. Not at all, thank you for showing us around. We appreciated it. Boy, did we, that was something else. It was the tour of a lifetime. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and thank you as well for giving me the change of pace I needed. I'll be seeing you all. Good luck with your security duties, and remember, give it everything you've got. We won't let you down. It's the least I could do to pay you back for that letter of recommendation. Adios be with you. I'll be praying for your success at the conference. As will I. This tea's giving me dry mouth. Alright, let's make our way back to Dudley. You should be in the security command room on the 34th floor by now. Now the real work begins. Here's hoping this goes smoothly. Yeah, fingers crossed. Let us hereby call to order the main session of the West Zamiria Trade Conference. I, Henry McDowell, shall have the honor of officiating the proceedings. The conference is scheduled to run for approximately 5 hours, during which there will be one intermission period. However, depending on how deliberations are progressing, a limited extension may be granted. I would now like to introduce you to 2 observers that will be joining us for the conference. Lawyer Ian Grimwood. He's a legal expert who is active not only in Crossbell but our surrounding nations as well. I requested that he attend today's conference due to his familiarity with both common and international law. It's a pleasure to be here, everyone. I'm Ian Grimwood at your service. Ah, so this must be Crossbell's famous Grizzly Grim. Yes, I've heard of you as well. They say you're primarily concerned with issues regarding civil rights. It's an honor to meet you. You flatter me. I hope my expertise proves useful to everyone today. Next, Bracer Arios McLean. You may recognize the name from his many outstanding achievements in our neighboring countries. I requested that he too attend as a neutral observer on behalf of the Bracer Guild to further ensure our safety here today. That is correct. I'm Arios McLean. A pleasure to make your acquaintances. So this is the Divine Blade of Wind. The speaker assumes right, your reputation greatly precedes you, even over in the Republic. Tales of your deeds reach the Imperial capital as well. People often speak of Crossbell's Divine Blade, a man swathed in wind-born might. I'm honored. Without further ado, we will begin by going over each proposal on today's docket. Mayor Dieter Croyce will be our first proponent. The floor is yours, Mayor Croyce. Thank you. Now, if you would all direct your attention to Bill number 1 in your provided materials. It's begun. Yeah. We already knew that Arios would be here, but I had no idea Mr. Grimwood was going to play a role too. It would seem his moniker of Grizzly Grim is well known outside of Crossbell as well. Keep in mind, conferences such as these are meant for establishing accords and agreements between governing bodies. As such, it's necessary to have someone on hand with expertise in international and common law. I see. And who would make a better advisor for that than Grizzly Grim himself? It's nice that we can see the start of the conference and all, but this stuff is way over my head. It's not as though it's our place to be concerned with the actual discussions during the conference. Focus on what matters most, making sure today passes without incident. Understood. Should we begin as planned? Yes, I've tasked you with patrolling the 34th, 35th, and 36th stories. Everyone on these floors should know who you are and why you're there. I'd advise you to take time to speak with members of the media and the staff of the dignitaries. Roger that. Good, I'll be heading back to the 34th floor now. May Adios protect you. Call me if anything happens. Dudley he is usually pretty steely, but even he's on edge today. I noticed too. It's hard to imagine today ending peacefully after what we experienced last night. I agree, we're gonna need to be hyper-vigilant on these patrols. No kidding. What do you say, leader? Ready to get this show on the road? I am. Let's follow Dudley's advice and speak with all the other parties present. Feel tension in the air. I bet you can. Security shouldn't be an issue. That's the stairs. This is Prince Albert's room. Okay, okay. I feel like I should also just check like every object in case something pops up. Suspiciously bright roses. Those police officers they have on patrol, aren't you? That's us. Sorry for interrupting. Great. And your Princess Claudia's little friend thicc, was it? Ah, this must be the Gear Falcon Kia told me about. Is that how I pronounce it? Great. What's the little guy saying? Did you translate for us, Tio? He said, hello again, SSS, and nice to meet you, Tio. Oh, he remembers us after all. Clever bird. Great. I always remember the faces of Princess Claudia's friends. Oh, well, I'm honored to hear you say that, thicc. Great. Great. Okay, okay. The room is clean. What's wrong with the snacks? Those sweet buns have Mishi's face on them. I would recognize them anywhere. They're Mishi buns. Fail to see the problem here. Any other foodstuff would be objectively inferior. Calm down, Tio. Nothing else. Look at the president. Something to remember Crossbell by. Rather tacky. It is kind of tacky. Even if he is like an official like country mascot. Or unofficial. I don't know. I don't know if he's official or unofficial, honestly. Elevators. Only the leftmost. I believe this elevator's locking mechanism is controlled via the orbital network. Well, it wouldn't be Orchis Tower if their security system wasn't state-of-the-art. No big deal, though. We can just use the leftmost elevator instead. Can I go to the roof? I'll finish this floor first, but... it's probably the only way to go to the roof. I would probably get distracted too and just gaze out the window. Just like that maid. Just be like, man. Just clean this window, but man, look at that view. Especially if you lived in a society where like views like this were extremely rare. Like in modern day, there's plenty of towers in plenty of cities that you can go to the top of and look out. And, you know, you can fly in an airplane, you can see the view, and, like, it's nice to see, but it's, like... It's not like you've never seen that before. And I guess the only alternative is they would have to go to, like, hike up a whole mountain. And look out. Ooh. Hello, Lecter. Man, get a load of that view. Ain't it something, SSS? Lecter? What are you doing here? Oh, come on, guys. I'm part of His Excellency the Chancellor's staff. Nothing unusual about me kicking back in here. Anyway, good to see you again, gang. We really gotta stop meeting like this. Even today of all days, you look like you don't have a care in the world. What he looks like is someone with something to hide. Hey, don't be like that, little lady. Only thing I'm hiding under all this charm is additional surplus charm. So, those glares on your faces tell me you guys have a boatload of questions you want to ask. That's right, we've learned a thing or two in the past 24 hours. Specifically about the Imperial government's actions, or lack thereof, regarding the trade conference. Alright then, I'm not exactly sure what you've heard, so let me shoot you a question of my own. Did you know that I'm working with the noble faction to take Gilead Osborne's life? What? Oh? Consider the source, everyone. Don't listen to a word he says. I ain't falling for this one again, pal. Well, this once, shame on you. Dang, don't ruin a guy's fun like that. 2 out of 6 ain't bad, but I was hoping to string half of you along at least. I suppose we can just chalk that one up as a crude attempt at humor then. Listen, Lecter, because I need to make something clear. I don't care what your position or goal is. From where I'm standing, you're the type of person who knows how to take responsibility and get the job done. Owing to that, the most logical thing to do would be to cooperate with us, at least as far as security is concerned. Am I wrong? So that's your play. I was only fooling about that turncoat business just now, but you can't tell me it's totally impossible to picture, right? You've got to keep your eyes peeled at all times, stay vigilant and see the signs. That's the key to a good writer finding inspiration, you know? I don't know any aspiring authors in this room, last time I checked. I've seen broken rifles shoot straighter than this guy. Sorry, but that's all the advice I can give you at the moment. You should keep an open mind about how things might play out. Expect the unexpected and all that jazz. That's, real helpful, thanks. Even now, I can't get a read on what he's thinking. I feel like I understand him even less than I did before. Hey, I can see our market village off in the distance. Man, just look at all those bees go, carrying honey and buzzing all over the place. Get real, there's no way you can see that far. What if he can, though? He is one of the more mysterious characters that is just involved in everything. And I don't remember... I'm trying to remember in Cold Steel, is he still just... Okay, I can't go to the roof. Let's just use the stairs. I can't remember, like... if he's revealed to be working for anybody else, or if it is just Chancellor Osborne. You know? Ooh, there's Kilika. Clearly the Calvard room. I'm assuming I can't go in here. Yeah, we can't go into the conference room. See if there's anything suspicious in the room itself. Oh look, I found something. Well, look who it is. How go your patrols, SSS? Kilika. The looks on your faces tell me you have some intel about what could happen today. Might it have something to do with your invitation aboard the RCL, perhaps? I beg your pardon? You should have expected you would already know. Well, way to give it away to you. Geez, how do your sources even get this stuff? Settle down, it isn't anything to fret over. I am curious though, did you hear anything of note? It was only some friendly advice, nothing more. There's still plenty we have to figure out for ourselves. Is that right? Well, the same could be said of myself. What? I was merely thinking aloud. I can envision as many scenarios as I'd like, but that doesn't mean any of them will come to pass. With so many conflicting motives, there's still much we don't know. That's true of everyone working here today. Will today be the day the first domino falls, or is that juncture yet to come? Who can really say at this point in time? I think I understand what you're getting at, but still. Either way, she's right on the mirror. The only thing I'll add is that my role today is nothing more than that of a presidential guardian and keeper. In that sense, you can almost consider us as colleagues. Let's say we put aside our allegiances and simply watch how today unfolds. Beyond that, I have no further comments to make for the moment. Fair enough, thanks for the information. I'm sure you have much you'd like to discuss, but for now, let's watch and see how things proceed. Given that we're both tasked with security today, our duties aren't all that different from each other. She always had that smirk on, like she's scheming. I wonder if there was an extra observation I could have made at the window, looking into the conference room. Good afternoon, everyone. If it isn't the special support section, I take it you've been securing the conference floors for everyone. That's right, we managed to eke out an assignment as part of the security. So this room is where they stashed all the big guns, is it? Metaphorically speaking, of course. I bet every last person here is a ranking officer. Correct, by all accounts, this room alone could prevent a major incident. Absolutely, not to mention Senior Captain Schwartz's swordsmanship. I've heard it's as fearsome as it is elegant. You are far too kind. It's nothing so extraordinary. That being said, no matter what happens, no one will lay as much as a finger on Her Highness. I swear it. Trust us to protect the conference room, and we will trust you to keep watch over the other floors. Of course, thank you. May Adios protect you all. Who is this? And a nervous wreck all day. Oh, is this the friend that Claudia made at high school? Yes, I'm being serious. I can't let this opportunity go to waste, especially after all Prince Oliver's done for the... Oh, it totally is. Wasn't she like the president of like the student government? And then this is how Claudia met Lecter as well. Oh, she's from Thor's. Oh, wait, that's Toa, isn't it? Wait. Why would Toa be here? That is... Oh, she does go away. Doesn't she go away between Cold Steels? She goes to Liberal or something for a while, or maybe? What's a girl in a school uniform doing here? I did hear that a student was going to be accompanying the Imperial government to the conference. Supposedly, they're hoping to gain some real-world experience being one of the best and brightest of their academy. This must be her. Damn, and here I was thinking someone just couldn't find a babysitter. Somehow I get the feeling she and I would have a lot to talk about. He has to have skipped a grade or two, right? Well, you never know. That girl just might be around the same age as you, Lloyd. She seems like she's got a good head on her shoulders. I guess she could be older than she looks. Would be nice to get to know her, but we're a bit pressed for time today. I'll ask you not to loiter in this room any longer than needed. That's fair. That's 100% Toa. It's good to see you again, Major Vander. Have you noticed anything out of the ordinary yet? Oh, hello there, SSS. Hardly enough reason to let our guards down, but things have been calm thus far. Even the discourse of the conference itself has been civil. I'm admittedly impressed by how smoothly things are going. If the conference continues to go well, that will at least alleviate some of the stress on the prince's shoulders. Is everything okay, Major Vander? You seem to have a lot on your mind. I suppose you could say that. In a sense, we've only come this far because of the seeds he chose to sow. But never mind that. What matters most right now is our duties at the conference. I have a role to play as the prince's escort. Just as I'm sure you all have your own, keeping the conference secure. Right, that much is for certain. Part of me wonders if, like, Toa and Yuna got added to the game for, like, the PC version. Or if they were in the original game. And if they were in the original game, that is a hell of a large, like, long foresight for, like, the series you're making. Because, like, you know, in 6 or 7 years, we're going to have Cold Steel 2 that's going to have, we're going to have a character, an unnamed student character that's, like, in that, and then years later we'll have Cold Steel 3 where we have Yuna from the police academy show up, and it's just like, I don't know if that was added later, if they had this in the original. Either way, it's a good detail. I can't believe that woman would... No, I'm sure of it this time. Who's he mumbling about? Excuse us, Vice Commissioner Pierre. What? Special support section? Oh, joy. Well, can I help you? If I may ask, Vice Commissioner, what are you doing here? Tio, you can't just... Oh, nothing. Nothing except my job as Director of the Security Command Room. Huh? Since when? And to think of it, I do recall seeing your name sprinkled around in some of our materials. Oh, I see. I never read those, hence my confusion. You what? Here we go. Probably should have mentioned this to you, all of you sooner. Whoops. One question. If you're head of the security, why are you in here instead of the command room? Taking a little break. Please, Dudley has full authority while we're here on site, with my permission, of course. So you see, there's no reason for me to be in the command room. Too many leaders spoil the group, as it were. Think of it however you like. As your superior, I know what is best for the operation. Now then, you six just focus on not getting in Dudley's way. Yes, sir. By the way, Vice Commissioner, can I ask what woman you were referring to just now? I'm curious too, is this someone we should be wary about? Why would my wife be? I mean, mind your own business. It's got nothing to do with you. Now get back to work. Go on. Yes, sir. Understood. Well, this was about his old lady. Perhaps the tight leash she has on him is beginning to chafe. Whatever the case, I think he'd appreciate us keeping quiet about this. This may come in handy. And I want to buy one of each, because I want to have one of everything. So I'm a hoarder. Bam, 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 bam. Captain Grant, a pleasure to see you. Hey, Grant, working hard? Good day, Sergeant Major Seeker. You as well, Sergeant Orlando. Though I suppose neither one of you is technically part of the CGF at the moment. That's true, but my leave is only temporary. You can address me by whatever you find easiest. I don't really care either way. Are you two the only representatives from the CGF on this floor? That we are. It's out of consideration for the dignitaries and members of the press, you might say. Part of the CGF's orders for this assignment is to stay out of their sight and minimize exposure, hence the bare-bones deployment. Sounds like the reasoning goes deeper than that. It does. Essentially, the decision is a way of tiptoeing around the two major powers. While the Guardian Force's weaponry is restricted by state law, it still functions the same as any other state military. We stay within budget, but a great deal of our funding goes towards maintaining and improving the arms we're allowed to have. Those expenditures would be an easy point of contention if they were out in the open during the conference. Out of sight and out of mind, in other words. Always he can be one fickle mistress. All true, but I try not to think about it too much. In the end, the both of us are only up here for appearance's sake. Still, there's an entire company of guardsmen 1 story below ready to mobilize at a moment's notice. Should something happen, they'll be on this floor within seconds, rest assured. Good to know. I'll be counting on you if it comes to that. Nice security room. Nice. I was expecting more technology in here, I'm not gonna lie. Kind of expecting it to look like the IBC basement. There you all are. Have you noticed anything amiss? No, not yet. That monitor over there gives you a security overview of the entire tower at once, right? Correct, we have access to every critical area of the building in real time. That includes the conference room, of course. Thankfully, this tower is equipped with the most advanced security system on the continent. Numerous locations are beginning to incorporate video surveillance, that I recall from the IBC to Orbital stores. I've never seen such a large quantity of them in one place, however. How many there are is only half of it. The fact this technology even exists is amazing on its own. I wouldn't be surprised to see them used to survey areas outside the city someday. CGF's days might be numbered, Noel. I don't think it'll ever be that simple. How widespread they become is going to depend on the public's approval. Digressions aside, there are a more than welcome convenience for this assignment. Without any leads on the terrorists' plans, all we can do is nip things in the bud the moment they strike, whether right before or just after. That's why we have to keep our eyes sharp. Can't afford to overlook even the tiniest detail. If you come across anything suspicious, be sure to report it at once. Understood. Let me just double check. Okay, yeah, this is just the elevator room. So this is the last room for me to look at. I'm gonna talk to Grace last. Good to see you, SSS. Hey, if it ain't Lloyd and company. Feels like we've been waiting forever for this trade conference to kick off, doesn't it? It's the main event of all main events. Crossbow's leadership and representatives from 4 nearby countries in a bonanza of international discourse. And of course, a big to-do like this demands a primetime venue. Orchis Tower, the continent's first true skyscraper. Can you feel it? The nerves in the air? I'm so tense that my heart's about to jump out of my chest. I definitely see the tension, but honestly, you don't look the least bit nervous to me. I suspect the nerves are coming less from her and more from her future prospective victims / interviewees. Tio, you're back. And you brought that trademark snark along with you, too. I'll admit, I'm not so much anxious as I am giddy, but enough about that. There's someone I want to introduce you to. Meet Notisha. Notisha, this is the special support section. Nice to meet you. I've seen you all in the papers before. You look like an even finer team in person. I'm Notisha, a reporter from the Liberal News. No memory of her whatsoever. Thanks for keeping us all safe for the day. Happy to be of service. I've heard of the Liberal News Service. It's the largest publication in the kingdom. That's right. They've also been getting a lot of attention in the journalism world for another reason. 2 of their own reporters were awarded the Pulitzer Prize last year. The Pulitzer, isn't that the prize that Nielsen person won a few years back? It's It's given to the continent's most outstanding journalist every year, if I remember right. That's the one. Anyway, the latest recipients are a duo by the names of Neil Burns and Dorothy Hyatt. I remember the name Neil Burns. Or Niall Burns. Maybe it's pronounced Niall. And honestly, I mostly remember that name because you add an L onto it. That's the name of your dragon friend from Lunar. Silver Star Story. I think he was a dragon. He was like a little flying dragon cat. Maybe it's just a cat. Maybe just a winged cat. His name was Neil or Niall. That's the only reason I remember that name, because I have that association. I'm going to say Niall. I think it's Niall. Niall's our ace reporter. Dorothy's a brilliant camerawoman. Okay, so I would have met them at the same time, I assume. So the kingdom took home the crown last year, huh? 2 guesses as to what the prize-winning story was. Could it have been about the strange phenomenon that happened in Liberal around that time? Right again? Though technically, everything they covered leading up to the incident factored into the decision too. I see, they sound very impressive. Yeah, I guess so, but that doesn't mean we'll just lie down and let them outshine us. It's every reporter's dream to win the Pulitzer Prize at least once in their career. And if you want to win the next one, then you'd better get the best scoop you can each and every day, especially this one. You got that right, Reigns? We can't let any of these news hounds get the jump on us. Yes, ma'am. Grace gets any more fired up, the orbital sprinkler system might go off. Let's hope she can behave herself at least. So I take it Niall and Dorothy couldn't make it? That's right, they're on assignment in Calvard, so they wouldn't have gotten here in time. Things are a little touch and go over there right now. Yeah, I'll bet. It's got something to do with those radical nationalists they've got running around, right? Word is the Republican government is concerned about them making a move during the trade conference. Well, look at you. Guess that press pass of yours isn't just for show, is it? I've heard the same, though there's no evidence of their involvement yet. So Grace managed to dig that info up too, huh? No sense worrying about it now. We've got our own job to take care of. By the way, Notisha, could I ask you to deliver a message for me the next time you run into Niall? Tell him Grace says, congrats on the Pulitzer. Once I win mine, we can pose them together. Yeah, I do remember hearing that the two of you knew each other. Alright, I'll make sure to pass it along. Dorothy Hyatt is the Liberal News Service's photojournalist extraordinaire. Her photos are both remarkably vivid and captivating beyond belief. As a photographer myself, I'd love the opportunity to speak with her someday. I guess I could try going to the LNS's head office next time I'm in Liberal. It's a pretty short airship ride from Rouen to Gransel, after all. Alright, that's one patrol down. Nothing unusual to report at the moment. Yep, so far so good. We might as well make another loop around. Good plan. You know, I can't help but wonder if the conference is going smoothly. Me too. I know the mayor and speaker are doing their best, but that's a tough room they've got in there. Blood and Iron Chancellor and the President Rocksmith present the greatest challenge. That they do. Want to ask someone how it's been going during the intermission? Halfway point. Nothing crazy's happened yet. That explains it. Things been as precarious as they are. The SSS was asked to assist with the security detail. Exactly. I'm not sure how much of a difference we really make in the grand scheme, though. We may only be additional peace of mind. Don't sell yourself short, my friend. You're the team that thwarted an assassination attempt on our previous mayor. It's reassuring to have you all here. That's kind of you to say. Yeah, thanks for the vote of confidence. How is the conference going, Mr. Grimwood? Things appear to be proceeding smoothly thus far. It's a fair assessment. Talks are slow, but steady for now. The participating nations have already agreed to several trade deals. Mayor Croyce's efforts are truly beginning to pay off for all of us. Thank goodness. That puts my mind at ease. Slow but steady for now, you say. Do you think things may get rocky in the second half? Oh? Is there something you're concerned about? I doubt I hold the jurisdiction to tell you this, as an observer on the sidelines, but the focal point of the first half of the conference centered on proposals that affect such fields as trading and finance. The second half, on the other hand, will be reserved for proposals from each of the various heads of state. That is undoubtedly when the topic of Crossbell's defenses will be addressed. But if they do that, it'll only be a matter of time before foreign military presence enters the equation. But what about the Non-Aggression Pact? It's only been 2 years since it was signed. The Queen of Liberal did push the pact into being with Crossbell's best interests in mind, but technically 2 of the nations participating today never signed the pact, Remiferia and, well, Crossbell itself. In light of that, it's only inevitable that a new continental security framework will be discussed. Likely so. My grandfather shares your concerns and expectations both. But drafting up a new pact and having Crossbell sign it this time not be the simplest solution. Has to be. They could model the framework after the Non-Aggression Pact and prohibit military force between all the nations. Oh. I get it. Crossbell isn't technically a nation. The Empire and the Republic only recognize Crossbell as an autonomous state. It's as you say, Crossbell lacks the sovereignty to enter an international treaty. Economic arrangements alone are not grounds for the state to enter into a formal pact as its own entity. That fine line we tread is precisely what puts the state of Crossbell in jeopardy. I'm sorta getting it, but this definitely isn't cut and dry. Excuse me, but I have something I would like to ask. Crossbell is not the only autonomous state on the continent. Lamon, Ored, and Northumbria, for instance. Are those states also barred from entering into international treaties? No, they're not. It's true that each state has its own set of historical circumstances as to why they've remained states instead of forming nations. However, each has also been recognized by the major powers as independent, with sovereignty of their own. So they have equal standing. Exactly, they're treated very differently than Crossbell, primarily because their sovereignty is recognized by the holy city of Arteria. Ah, the holy city of Arteria is in the high seat of the Septian Church. Yes, as a city-state, Arteria's territory is small, but the Church holds religious authority across the continent. Numerous autonomous states and free cities owe their establishment to the Church's aid. Then you have Crossbell, whose autonomy was gifted to it by Erebonia and Calvard. That's how we're in the unique position of having 2 suzerain powers above us. And that has historically led to Crossbell being dragged into their conflicts time and time again. Crossbell only had a modicum of sovereignty. We could work to improve the situation. But if consent from both countries is what it will take for that to become a reality, then there's basically no hope. Wish I could disagree. But that way, it does seem bleak. Getting back to the topic at hand, I would expect the Chancellor and President to have their ideas regarding Crossbell's security. Naturally, each country's terms for the respective proposals will differ vastly. The Speaker and Mayor will have to be wary of what we stand to gain or lose. Apologies, my young friends. I'm sure you already have enough on your minds. Remember that Speaker McDowell is no stranger to matters such as these. And I get the sense Mayor Croix still has some cards to play himself. You think he has a plan? But what could it be? I don't know the particulars myself. Nevertheless, it could very well. Sorry, I should take this. Special Support Section, Lloyd Banning speaking. Bannings, the press conference has concluded. The dignitaries are now headed to the 36th floor. Where are you? Oh, we're still in the break room on the 34th. Was there something you needed us to do? Yes, actually, we were contacted by both Chancellor Osborne and President Rocksmith. They each requested to speak with the SSS during the intermission. They what? Given who they are, I hope you understand we're in no position to turn them down. The SSS is to visit the both of them during the intermission, and that's an order. The President is staying in the furthest room of the West Wing corridor, while the Chancellor is in the furthest of the East. Hold on a second, I get that we can't refuse, but why ask for us? That is a lot of pressure, Dudley. Don't be such a child, Bannings. This is an excellent opportunity to get some insight on what each side is after. You're right. Okay, we'll head there right away. Lean on McDowell if the going gets rough. She's the one on your team best suited to handling these situations. Report to me once you're finished. Understood. What was that about, Lloyd? You were getting real riled up there. What's going on, bud? Brace yourselves. Excuse me? You're joking. Not that I can discern. He seems entirely serious. That is certainly a surprise. The Special Support Section's name is more well known than I thought. I don't know about that. I suspect it's because we're familiar with several members of their personnel. That's the only reason for their interest in us that I can think of. You might be onto something there. Regardless of the reason, there's no way we could possibly decline. Don't I know it? Let's head up to the 36th floor. Dudley said their rooms are on the furthest end of the east and west wings. We don't want to keep them waiting. Roger? Yes, sir. Receiving an audience with the heads of state of both major powers is something substantial, no matter the reason. I'm sure you're apprehensive, but an opportunity like this is worth taking advantage of. At the very least, to be able to size both men up in person should be a valuable experience for you. I was thinking the same thing. We'll head over to see them now. Please excuse us, Mr. Grimwood. Anything suspicious in the room? Apparently not. Been gone for a while now. I mean, he's just suspicious by nature. How are you and your men faring, Captain Grant? Just fine, everyone's standing by on high alert. They're used to being ready for an emergency at any moment. I suppose they would be, that's reassuring to hear. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to go over how our forces will be deployed for the second half of the conference. What are you doing here? You should visit the Chancellor and President while there's still time. I hope I don't have to tell you that it wouldn't be wise to keep them waiting. I mean, they're gonna wait, because I'm gonna go to the rooms last. I'm gonna talk to everybody else. What are you doing? Oh, we haven't seen the terrorists. Okay. No movement whatsoever. Bam, bam. Can I not get to the elevator? Hey there, Lloyd & Company. How's security detail going? Peachy? For now, at least. What about you? Did you manage to get the scoop you were looking for? Oh, you know it. We've been doing pretty well for ourselves so far. Speaking of which, I might end up writing a genuinely positive article for once. All I need now is some material with a little more zing to it. Something the public would eat right up. I'm sure you already know this, but please don't go sneaking up somewhere you're not supposed to. Our jobs are tough enough as it is. I won't. I was gonna make Reigns do that. I mean, listen, I promise I won't break any rules, okay? See? No fingers crossed or anything, so come on, don't worry about it. I'm more worried than ever now. Am I? I, Grace Lynn, do swear by oath to follow the rules. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go report in to my editor before heading over to the break room. Oh. Oh, he's on the phone, I guess. That's like a rough job and boring too. I mean, it could be. How many times must I tell you, the press isn't allowed past here? It's still intermission though, right? Can't you just, you know, look the other way? We promised we only wanted to take a few photos. They won't even know we're there. That's right, I can't go back to Grace empty-handed. Please let us through. Persistent as ever. Good luck trying to tell a reporter where they can and can't go. Well, as long as no one is trying to physically force their way through, they're not breaking any rules. I guess so. This is all just part of being a member of the press, right? Either way, we may as well give up any hope of using the elevators right now. I wanted to talk to Reigns. Is that Arios and Kilika? I believe so. What could they be talking about? Nearly a year's gone by since you left the guild. Are you adjusting well to your new job? More or less. Though the workload is so much heavier, it doesn't even begin to compare. So I imagine. And how has Shizuku been? As truthful as ever, though sometimes I feel as though she's a bit too accommodating for a child her age. She was recently blessed with a wonderful friend as well. I've noticed that she smiles more often since then. That's good to hear. It's already been half a decade since Seiya's passing, hasn't it? Not to mention 6 years since our first meeting. That's right, 6 years. You were wandering the continent when you came across Seiya in Crossbell City by chance. I remember it, she insisted you stay with our family while you were in town, no matter how much you tried to refuse. Imagine my surprise when I saw you working for the Bracer Guild in Liberal 3 years later. Goddess works in mysterious ways. You never quite know what threads will end up tying people together. I'll never forget the hospitality the two of you showed me back then. My only regret is I was unable to return the favor to her. There's no need to dwell. The fact that you remember it to this day would be more than enough for Seiya. It's like those two knew each other before they met through the guild. Evidently so, but I feel it would be rude to listen in any further. I agree, we should leave before we interrupt them. I'm gonna interrupt them. Just remembered, Stella and Joshua wanted to see you when you came earlier in the year. They were disappointed to miss you when they heard you and Lynn had lunch together during the anniversary festival. Were they? It wasn't my intention to give them the cold shoulder. If time had permitted, I would have been more than happy to do a little catching up. That being said, I have heard plenty about their achievements while they were here in Crossbell. It's amazing to think those are the same two rookies who came through the doors of the Zeiss branch 2 years ago. Indeed, they were invaluable to us during their stay. I should have expected as much from a pair that was raised by Cassius. Look forward to seeing how they continue to grow. That's right, Kellica used to be a Bracer Guild receptionist in Liberal. Explains how she knows Estelle and Joshua. A small world, as they say. People often have fewer degrees of separation between them than you'd expect. Incidentally, I've heard that you've been keeping in contact with Zin. You could say that. Though we rarely get the chance to meet anymore, our positions being what they are. Enough eavesdropping for one day, we should move along. I want to talk to them! Fine. We can't interrupt them. Free to enter? Hell yeah. Probably no one in there. Oh, well, you know, cleaning staff. Oh, that was Pierre. I thought that was just a regular dude. What an amazing view. It's difficult to imagine any tourists would take wing in such beautiful skies. Yes, that's right. The mere notion is absurd. There's simply no way it could ever happen. He thinks he may be an idiot. Hello, Angie? Yeah, we're in the middle of an intermission. Oh, that's right. Class 7 is at Garrelia Fortress right now. I'm a little worried about the Imperial Liberation Front is up to, but they should be fine as long as Crow's with them. I'll keep an eye out over on my end, so you guys be sure to do the same. No, that's not like any orband I've ever seen before. It must have been co-developed by the Foundation and the Reinford Company. Whatever it is that girl was talking about, though, she seemed pretty on top of it all. Not just anyone can do that sort of thing. Huh? You love me? Angie, this is a serious situation here. Keep an eye out over on my end, so you guys be sure to do the same. I have a feeling she's added later to this PC version. That's a lot of detail. That's a lot of very specific detail. There's no way she was in the game before they made Cold Steel. Ding, 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 ding. Huh? It seems the elevator's arrived. How about that? Please, after you. Oh, I couldn't. You go on ahead. It's quite alright, I promise you I'm in no particular hurry. No, I insist. You were here first. What's up, Lloyd? Take a look at those two soldiers by the elevator. They appear to be trying to compromise on who rides the elevator first. This is kind of painful to watch. Look at them go, like an awkward couple on a first date to the anniversary festival. We can forego using the elevator for now, if only to spare us the emotional turmoil. Yeah, good call. They're having a moment. Not a suspicious moment? I think it could be a little suspicious. I don't know about you. That's... I see, and that's when you ran into Lucy. Yep. I was only in Ramaferry on business too. I guess she caught wind. Tried to run, but she caught me. Yeesh, I must be losing my touch. Can you even guess how many bonks over the head she gave me? Not a one. She hugged you instead with tears in her eyes, didn't she? Dang it. Tell exactly how Lucy feels, you know. She's probably well aware of just how dangerous your day-to-day is. I'm sure she's been worried sick. Man, a woman's intuition is no joke. It makes my spine tingle. I never do know how to handle them. Maybe, but you brought it upon yourself. It really does take me back. It's been so long since I've seen Leo too. I'd love for all of us to have a reunion. Why the long face, Lecter? Isn't this the part where you say, yeah, let's all have a bash at Michelin and party till we drop? Not a bad impression. No promises, but I'll see what I can do. Just don't hold your breath, alright? I know, but you won't be able to stop me from looking forward to it anyway. Now then, I should be going. If you'll please excuse me. No problem. Hey, don't forget to say hi to TLoH for me. I still owe him that salami. Damn, she's really coming to her own. Liberal couldn't ask for a better crown princess. You guys think so too, right? Busted. Sorry, we didn't mean to eavesdrop, and yet we do it all the time. We didn't hear much, I assure you. Didn't you, Ellie? You seemed very invested in the relationship from where I was standing. But Tio? Well, she ain't the only one. You and the princess sure seem close. What's the story there? I was her upperclassman back in school. Prep, I mean, not Sunday school. Genus Royal Academy, to be specific. Genus Royal Academy, that's one of Liberal's more prestigious institutions, isn't it? That's right, it's not unheard of for them to accept students from abroad, but... Did you study there on taxpayers' money? Nah, old man Gileath paid my tuition out of pocket. Well, it's about time I hit the old dusty trail myself. Oh, that reminds me, you got called in to talk with the head honchos, right? They're both real pains in the ass to deal with, so good luck in there. What? I feel like I should go down and find him. Could he be any more sketchy if he tried? Would have thought the next Queen of Liberal went to school with an Imperial spy. Truth is stranger than fiction, as they say. Whatever the case, we can't forget that he's a subordinate of the Blood and Iron Chancellor. As for what he's after personally, I think we'll have to figure that out for ourselves. I'm gonna go find him. He's around somewhere that I can bug. Wouldn't be surprised if he's in here. Oh, there's Grace. So you're a coffee connoisseur too. You're a coffee connoisseur too, eh, Grizzly Grim? You and the Chancellor would get along just fine. Oh, I take it His Excellency often enjoys a good cup himself then? Yep, he likes it how he likes his despair. Black as ink on a moonless evening. He loves this stuff. I don't think I've ever seen him blink in all the years I've known him. Is that so? Well, that explains how he manages to keep his eyes on the ball all the time. Chancellor and caffeine sound like a very intense combination. As dark and bitter as he likes his coffee. I see. So Chancellor Osborne is Team Coffee in the war against tea. What about you, Lecter? Which side are you on? Sorry to burst your bubble, but I've always been a tea guy, personally. But why do you care so much about what a second secretary likes anyway? Doesn't sound like much of a scoop to me. What can I say? Seeing a good-looking guy like you, I figured maybe I should call dibs. Pretty faces make for some real eye-catchers on the front pages. Stop, you're gonna make me blush. She's laying it on a little thick. Dang, now I know what Lloyd thinks of Lecter. Still, looks like Grace has a good handle on what makes Lecter tick. From how I see it, this little game of cat and mouse is a way of sizing each other up. And just remember, there's something important I want to discuss with you, Grizzly Grim. There is? What about? Well, you see, I've been having some troubles over at my workplace. You're an expert on civil rights, yeah? I'd like to hear a few takes from you. But that's it. Unfortunately, this isn't exactly the most appropriate place for a consultation. How about I leave this with you and you can contact me whenever it's convenient? Hey, thanks. Guess Lecter's taking this opportunity to network. He does work in intelligence after all. Social wiles come with the territory. Let me ask you this, Grizzly Grim. Yes, quite so. That's the way it is. Curious as I am to know what they're talking about, we can't just stand around here forever. Let's not eavesdrop any more than we already have. What else has changed? Who else has moved? They haven't moved. I should probably talk to Dudley regardless. Be like, hey, Grace is doing shit. Okay, he said the exact same thing. I'm surprised it did like the first bit of the conversation. Prince Albert's room. Am I allowed in there? Or is it instructed to let you pass? Oh, okay. We're done deliberating for now, but I'm absolutely exhausted after facing both Osborne and Rocksmith at once. Oh, now, don't sell yourself short, your lordship. You've grown quite capable of commanding the room when needed. I'd say your predecessors would be proud of the way you handled yourself in there. It's been 5 years since I ascended to the throne. Primaferia's domestic order has finally been secured, but I've much to learn as a statesman. Oh, look who it is. Good afternoon, Special Support Section. Pardon our interruption. I did hear about your being added to today's security detail. We appreciate your service. It's my understanding that you once even saved Speaker McDowell's life. It would seem we're in good hands. I think you may be expecting a little too much from us. Not at all. I too find your presence here most reassuring. We'll need that peace of mind to properly navigate the second half of the conference. About that, you expect the upcoming discussions to be, problematic, Grandfather? I do. Unlike the first half, I suspect the faults of Crossbell State will be thrust into the spotlight one after another, to which the major powers will no doubt be as demanding as they've ever been. However, I'm also concerned about Dieter. During our last Diet session, he was rather enthusiastic about introducing some truly radical ideas. Such drive comes with youth, and I do respect that. However, I worry about what direction it might take us today. I hadn't thought about it that way. Mr. Grimwood alluded to Mayor Croix having some kind of plan for the last half of the conference. I can't profess to know the details myself, but I'm certain he'll bring it to the table sooner or later. And whether it turns out for good or for ill depends entirely on how the conference proceeds. Isn't that right, Speaker? Precisely. As Speaker, it is imperative that I lend my utmost support to Mayor Croix during the trade conference. It's no simple duty to be sure, but I will do what I can to fulfill it. I heard hearing a weird sound. Of course, best of luck, Grandfather. It's Princess Claudia's room. But she's in here by herself. That's surprising. May I ask you a question, Seek? How do you suppose Grandmother would have handled this if she'd been the one to come? Great, it's great. You have a point. I suppose I can't help being the way I am. Oh, hello, SSS. Sorry for interrupting, Your Highness. It's nothing to concern yourselves over. I was merely thinking aloud, to be honest. I'm glad you came to visit. Your Highness, are you also concerned over what may happen during the second half of the conference? Partially, yes, but I was actually reflecting on something a tad broader. As Crown Princess, I have a fair bit of knowledge when it comes to diplomatic negotiations. But to be a good negotiator takes many skills, insight, judgment, and objectivity, for instance. The first half of the conference made me painfully aware that I still have room for growth in those particular areas. So that's what's bothering you. Give yourself some credit. Knowing where you can improve is half the battle. That's right, and you're still only as old as Lloyd, Ellie, and myself, Your Highness. You're an inspiration, if you ask me. Thank you. That's very kind of you to say. Still, being timid in a room like that is unavoidable at this stage of my career. But though the continent's troubles wait for no one, I nevertheless have to learn at my own pace and take everything in stride. It's a good approach, just don't forget to cut loose and relax every now and then. Like now, for example, you only get one intermission, it'd be a shame to waste it. Razzie, I swear to Adios, if you're thinking of inviting her out for a drink or worse, it's alright. I was never one for excessive formalities. The lack of it is quite relaxing, actually. Though now that I think about it, perhaps nostalgic is a better word. When I'm around all of you, I feel as if I'm speaking with Estelle, Joshua, and the rest of our friends. I'm not sure we can really compare, Your Highness. Well, I'd have to disagree with you on that. Yes, would any of you care for some tea? No, we couldn't possibly. As much as I would love to, we have somewhere else we need to be. My apologies, I should have anticipated that. I won't keep you any longer. Please be careful today, everyone. I wish you all the best. And rest assured that I'll be giving my very utmost during the second half of the conference. We'll be rooting for you, Your Highness. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to chat with me, everyone. Let's all focus on what's to come during the next phase of the conference. It's great! I think it's events like this are good like once a game. Where it's like really in depth with like tons and tons and tons and tons and tons, because it's all just story and dialogue. But I do remember Cold Steel, particularly 3 and 4. They kind of did this more and more and more and more. It was like 3 or 4 of these, I think, in Cold Steel 4. And things like this get rather exhausting. It does bog you down. So on that note, I'm gonna take a quick break, rest my voice. I'll be right back.